Today, I spent some time with some elegant writing by you from 2009, in which you authored a memo for the Justice Department setting out binding Justice Department policy that controls communication between the White House and the Justice Department. You say the legal judgments of the Department of Justice must be impartial and insulated from political influence. You then lay out in detail what that means, and as other attorneys general before you had done, lay out very specific rules about the very restricted number of people that can communicate from the White House to the Justice Department in the matter of any pending or potential criminal investigation. As far as we understand, that memo is still policy at the Justice Department. It has not been rescinded. But yet, this weekend, there's the New York Times headline, Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows pressed Justice Department to investigate election fraud claims. The Times first to report this weekend that the Trump White House had their Chief of Staff calling the Justice Department, calling the Attorney General, telling him to go chase rabbits, to go chase down some of the craziest conspiracy theories about how Trump was supposedly robbed of his rightful election result in 2020. I just have to ask your reaction to that, given your role directly shaping the policy that's supposed to block that from happening.
Well, let me just say this really clearly. That story is appalling. I mean, the memo you're talking about sets out what's called a contacts policy. And you're correct. It really delimits the number of people who have the ability in the White House to interact with people at the Justice Department. The Justice Department, given its law enforcement abilities, the ability to take property from people, to imprison people, has to be seen as acting in a way that is non-political, and in fact has to act in a non-political way. And one of the ways in which you wall off the Justice Department from potential White House influence is to have very clear lines as to who can contact the Justice Department about any issues. The story, if correct, you have no reason to believe that it is not, is clearly a violation of that contacts policy, both with regard to who was contacting the Justice Department and also the substance of what Mr. Meadows was trying to get the Justice Department to do. That really goes against everything that every Justice Department has tried to have in place since the Watergate era. And this is Republican attorneys general as well as Democratic attorneys general. It is simply appalling.
What is supposed to be the consequence when a policy like that is broken? I feel like one of the things we ran up against quickly and repeatedly in the Trump administration is policies, norms, standards, expectations, not only violated, but flagrantly trampled. And then that us learning the hard way as a country and as a people that there's no real consequences for people who violate those things. In this case, this is a fundamental tenet of what the Justice Department is supposed to be. But I don't know that anything will happen for this flagrant violation of it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that the Trump administration did so expertly was to simply trash norms, trash policies. And there really is no criminal sanction for the violation of the contacts policy. But you would hope that people who are involved in government and the executive branch would respect these norms. Congressional oversight, I think, is something that is one way in which this needs to be brought out. I would hope that with all the other things that Congress is in the process of considering, that they would find some time to hold hearings about what actually happened here. What was Meadows trying to do with the Justice Department? What was the Justice Department's reaction to what Mr. Meadows did? Why didn't the Justice Department surface that which the White House was trying to do? You simply can't have people telling you in the White House what you should be investigating and not react to that in some very strong negative way. And so I'd like to see what happened within the Justice Department.